Hey, Mike, what do Kelly Slater and PT have in common?
I don't know. They're both world champs?
Nope, they both own Endless Summer box set.
Oh my God, rad. You guys, you can get it too. The link's in the show notes.
Harder for our jerk food. Harder racks on a slipper. Slippery. Big guns like Mark food. Trap jumping like a kangaroo. Harder for our
Hey everybody, welcome to the QuiverCast, where we chat with surfers from all around the world, from all walks of life, and we get their story. Find us at www.thequivercast.com. I am Mike, your host. Let's get into the show. Hey everyone, this is Mike here with the QuiverCast, coming in from Hawaii. I believe you're at home, right, in Hawaii?
Yes, I'm at home.
Tony Moniz, Hawaiian legend. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, actually. Yeah, thanks.
How's that waves at home right now?
You know what? May's been a gif of waves on the North Shore. We had a swell last week that everybody's enjoying. I'm on the South Shore, born and raised on the South Shore. And they're expecting another swell in May. That's rare. You know, another
Really?
good coming. Yeah, so it's pretty cool. It's been a slow winter. Spring has been very minimum. So the guys are pretty psyched to have something in the window for next week.
Are both shores breaking? You can surf town year round, right? On the South Shore?
All year round, but wintertime, it's known to be smaller.
Smaller, yeah.
It's weather pattern's been weird, man. Town's been, for town, it's been pretty consistent, even during the wintertime.
So the winds are sometimes better in the winter there, right? If you want fun waves.
Yeah, the winds are, talking about patterns changing, even the wind patterns, we get a lot of Kona wind, which means southeast, southwest winds that's onshore on the South Shore. Southeast on the North Shore at Pipe, that's what you want, a nice little southeast wind. But then you go on the other side of the island around Kahuku and Mokuleia, that gets straight offshore. So it's always a place to be the right conditions most of the times. You're on an island, so you figure that out.
Yeah. It's always offshore somewhere, right?
Somewhere's got to be offshore.
So let's start way in the beginning. I mean, obviously you grew up on an island, so surfing's kind of there, but what really got you into surfing?
Yeah, it's part of the family heritage. We were always at the beach. My dad's side, my uncle was really into the ocean. My mom's side, we had all the fishermen's there on the outer island of Molokai. I spent a lot of time there, back and forth on the islands. I learned a lot about the mountain as well. My dad was into horses, but the dirt bike riding is where I spent a lot of time. And to this day, I still spend more time in the mountains riding nowadays than surfing. I guess because you just go through phases, the passion. I'm just following what I feel. I haven't really had too much passion about jumping out and surfing too much. I do, but, I spend a lot of time dirt bike riding in the trails. I just came back from Kauai, and they have hare and hound trail races there that are really popular on the islands, and it's brutal. It's challenging. It's very physical and hard to explain how hard it is. Yeah, I was just there this past weekend. I probably did the last 7 events in the last 3 years on Kauai.
On the dirt bike riding side, is that fun? Is it dangerous? Or is it pretty mellow?
It's fun. It's dangerous. I have comments of people saying, hey, you're up there in age. Isn't it too dangerous? And my answer would be, well, getting my car is way more dangerous than going into mountains where there's no traffic. Yeah, there's risks involved, but I got to live, I got to live. I got to play hard. And if I get hurt, which I do get hurt quite a bit, some can be, harsher than other injuries, but it's something that I love to do. And that's my it's pretty much my escape, getting away from the busyness of Waikiki and running my business. I like going, what we say, Malka is the mountain, and just serenity. I love that part about it. And also staying fit, it helps me to keep my condition up. About 3 years ago, I had prostate cancer. That was a game changer for me with life, dealing with that and going into mountains really, really helped me cure myself, along with changing all the other habits, eating habits, all that stuff that helped. But mindset, it helped me 100%. Just played hard all through COVID. I rode 5 to 7 days, got a dirt bike, went deep in the mountains, social distance myself from society. Here on the islands, we have just a lot of trails all over the island. You just need to know where to go and how to get there. Yeah, so I love that shit.
Yeah. You make it sound super fun. I'm sure it's fun. What about animals and stuff like that? Are you coming across like crazy, like the wild
That's the
boars and stuff?
beauty. Mostly boars,
Yeah.
on this island, a lot of pigs. And then there's areas where the farmers, the ranchers, and you see cows and bulls. And matter of fact, talking about that, I mean, I've never ever heard anyone getting attacked by any animals in the mountain here. Mostly we deal with boars, but just the other day, I heard a big bull attacked a girl on her bike,
No.
like kind of took her out a little bit. She's
No.
okay, but yeah.
Whoa.
And and we run across, cows and bulls when we get up close to the ranches. Sometimes they break through the fence and they get out. It's kind of scary when you see them. Otherwise, you never think about them.
Yeah.
You may run into a pig crossing your path just in a panic mode,
Mhm.
like a deer on the highway.
But there's no big predators in Hawaii anyhow, right?
Yeah, we don't have all the snakes and all that
Yeah.
kind of stuff to worry about. So it's really cool.
So you started surfing, just hanging out with the family at the beach. How did it progress? Especially you being in town, there's a lot more surfers probably than anywhere else on the island.
Yeah, so our generation, you think about it, most of the legendary surfers grew up in town.
Yeah.
You're talking where Duke Kahanamoku started
Yeah.
his journey right there in Waikiki. Yeah, my dad was a fireman, so we lived in a place called Houla. It's around Kahuku on the north side. By the time I was 5 years old, he got transferred in town, so we stayed in town all of my life. And Waikiki was the stomping ground for just my whole surfing career to this day. It taught me a lot, not just the ocean, but adjusting with people, especially now, it just got crowded. And I used to hear a lot of stories about Uncle Duke Kahanamoku.
Yeah.
And as a young boy, it inspired me. That really inspired me. Not so much that he was a great surfer, but he was a great man. And he shared surfing around the world and brought that word aloha to people from the bottom of his heart. That's how he operated. That's who I looked at and went, wow, I want to be like that. I want to be that. I didn't know surfing was going to take me around the world. It was just a passion for the ocean. Surfing, it educated me in many, many ways. I had a hard time in school. I grew up just not having a good experience going to school. And it's not because I didn't want to learn. It was the fear of teachers and getting caught out in front of the class to solve a problem or read
Oh
something.
yeah.
And, when you're in the fifth, sixth grade, when you're real young, kids are mean, you get laughed at and that. And I was totally a different, I looked different. I was different from all the kids in my class because I was dark. I had dreadlocks pretty much. My hair was just bleached and shredded out. Never ever, I didn't comb my hair. I couldn't brush my hair. It was like buttons. I was like buttons, but even more. I wish I had more photos. So, so I think the old school with having the Asian teachers in Hawaii I
Yeah.
think that one Mr. Ching just couldn't handle me. So he just put me up in front of the class over and over again. And I hated him. And I ran away from school. I ran to the ocean. The ocean just nurtured me in a way that I didn't even know. It was my go-to place to hide out. I would skip class for 2 weeks straight at a time. This is going on for a while until I finally got caught. And how I got caught was I was across the street, putting air in my bicycle with the surfboard on the ground, and one of the teachers saw me and they said, "Hey, Tony, imagine that. I was 10 years old. Surfboard, I'm going to paddle my bicycle, board in hand, and going to Waikiki." And it's kind of far away. I grew up in Kalihi. Fast forward on that, they called my parents, and my parents didn't know anything. Dad was at the fire department overnight. Mom was at the hotel working. And little Tony was in Waikiki surfing all day and just the fear of going to school.
Wow.
Yeah. So, the teacher parent conference and all that stuff. And here I am sitting outside their meeting, and then they call me in and trying to figure out, why isn't this boy coming to school?
Mhm.
And it was teacher, counselor, principal, my parents on this round table, and they got me in front of them. They just asked the question, why aren't you going to school? And I looked at my teacher and I pointed my finger and I said, "It's because of you." And I said, "I hate you. I don't like you. That's why I don't
Wow.
go to school, because of what he did." So that really kind of ruined me in a sense of wanting to educate myself, wanting to learn, wanting to be in school. And then they sent me away in the 7th grade and went up. The rest of the year, that 6th grade, I was getting tutored and all that. And then it's put me in this special ed class. Now I'm up with the 7th, 8th, and 9th graders. So the school's bigger, you got going through that puberty. And I was fucking pissed off.
Mhm.
I was like a raging bull inside of me. I didn't know how to explain it. I didn't have anybody really to share what I was going through. It was just, I didn't know how. So I just continued to surf and do that. And other sports, every individual sport that I did, it helped me, like boxing, motocross racing. That was where my love was. So surfing was always there with me. It was always a place where I love, and, followed the journey. And out of high school, I knew I wasn't going to go to college. I was 150%.
Yeah.
There's no more education for me.
Yeah.
So they put me back in the regular classes, and I was like went back in the regular classes. I clammed up. I couldn't trust any teacher at all.
Mhm.
And I just barely got through with these. And we got away.
You made it.
I didn't. Yeah, I made it. I didn't learn shit. I didn't learn nothing in high school. Absolutely nothing. Nothing. Zero. Because it was just easy to skip through the
Yeah.
grades. You just show up. You'll get a D.
Yeah.
And I just showed up.
It sounds like you learned anxiety, maybe. Like,
Yeah, I was just scared
Yeah.
of getting
Crazy.
called out and singled out. I was really scared of that.
Were there other kids missing school with you in your age bracket?
Oh yeah.
Similar?
There was a group of us that
Yeah.
would, "Hey man, let's go surf."
Yeah.
Surf's
I mean,
good.
And then what you said boxing. When did you start boxing? Pretty young?
My dad was a boxer, and I've always played around with that,
Yeah.
from real young. And growing up in Kalihi, which is all around the projects,
Mhm.
all the houses, and those guys are all my friends. So that's how I started. And in my generation, it was just fist fight. There was the etiquette of no kicking if it's on the ground, no wrestling. It was just up and up. That was the etiquette on the street. So I did a lot of that. You could do that every day. And we used to actually have, even in my young adulthood life, late teens, we used to gather around the projects and just have a smoker of a fight everybody around in a circle, put on the gloves. You could stay in there as long as you want.
Wow.
And yeah, it was crazy. It was fun. And that's when I was actually also going to the ring and training properly and, running. And
You're fit.
yeah, I was fit. I was so fit. I could stay in that ring and go with 5, 10 guys if I wanted to.
Wow.
Fun because any weight, anyone who wants to jump in, throw the gloves. But at the same time, I was pretty controlled, Wasn't no one took the glove off and got pissed and wanted to fight. Everybody just left it right there on the grass. It's done. And you
Yeah.
become really good friends.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Later,
everybody
probably.
become really good friends. And that was good experience. But surfing was always there. I always surf. Rode dirt bikes, always surf. Went into boxing, I always surf. I always went down back to the water. It was a place where I felt peace and happy. Getting punched in the head, I didn't like that after a while.
Any of that translate back into the water? Did that aggression you had on the streets?
It totally did. And also, I raced motocross for a lot of years. And that's where my riding to this day comes in.
Yeah.
I raced a lot, and I really thought that I would be more of the motocross guy and come to California and start racing, but I ended up burning out.
Mhm.
My dad, I had sponsorships here.
Yeah.
Where local shops would sponsor me. I would have 2 bikes a year.
Wow.
Every 6 months I had a bike, the new ones came in. When I graduated, my dad, that crossroad, that intersection, Pops knew that I wasn't going to go to school. He said, why don't you go race? Just, go to California. We'll get you a van and you start driving around and racing and maybe work at a gas station for some money and just do it. At the time, John DeSoto, I don't know if you heard of John DeSoto. He's a legendary waterman and motocross racer.
Okay.
He did it in California. He did really well, but you're talking 70s.
Yeah.
He was there in the 70s racing for 10 years. I was burnt out, and in that intersection of my life, being out of high school, maybe if I had opportunity of a sponsor with bikes, I didn't have to go there and work at a gas station.
Yeah.
And my dad told me to go work at a gas station. That turned me off. I was like, there's no way. I'm not going to go there work at a gas station.
Yeah.
If he would have said, hey, maybe find a surf shop, you can work at, I might have went, oh, that seems more casual. I was just, so crossing that intersection, surfing became more part of me again. And then I competed as an amateur in the Menehune boys, and right at my junior years, I hated the difference between crossing a finish line,
Yep,
and getting judged, and I hated that. So I stopped competing, and I had a pretty good amateur record competing. So I saw Michael and Dane Keloa, all these guys I grew up with, traveling around the world when I was 18 years old, 19 years old, 20 years old. I kept seeing these guys. Whoa, man, if they can do it, I can do it.
Yeah.
So
you're surfing right next to these guys, I'm sure, right?
oh yeah.
You surf LM1 or something.
Yeah, we're all surfing together, and these guys started traveling around the world. And here I was at home, just kind of at the intersection, like, what am I going to do? And my dad got me a job with the city and county, and I stayed in the city for about 3 years. But I had one look across the table, across the field, and I saw what I would look like in 20 years. I exactly saw my future in my boss's hands. And I didn't like that. I said, I can't be here for 20 years, seemed like infinity. I said, I can't be here for 20 years, 25 years. There's no way. So quietly, I was hating it. One random afternoon from the city and county, the yard I was working at, picked up the phone at my boss's desk, called my dad at home and said, hey, Pops, I've been dealing with this, and I want to try and take a leave of absence from the city. What do you think? He goes, huh? He was in the fire department. Yeah. And he goes, well, what are you going to do? I said, I want to surf. I want to try and surf professionally. And surfing professionally was like at the infant stage.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know what? I thought the old school coming out of my dad would be, you'd say, "Are you kidding? I got you this position.
Yep.
You got security. You're going to be set the rest of your life." I was expecting that.
Yeah.
And my heart, I knew what I was going to do. I was just going to listen, ride, and go, okay. But he told me the best thing I have ever heard from him. He said, follow your heart.
Wow.
Follow your heart. A job you can always get. You can always come back and work. But the next question he says, how are you going to do that?
Mhm.
I said, well, I'm going to figure it out. I owned a little truck, sold the truck, bought a ticket. The tour was going to the Stubbies Pro in Australia.
Yeah.
I was surfing. Ben Ipa sponsored me boards. I had surfboards. I had a little sponsorship there. I just needed my ticket and I needed to get there.
Yeah.
So I got the ticket, had a few bucks in my pocket, went to Australia in 1980, stayed there for about 3 months, came back broke, but the price tag you put on it is, you can't even put a price tag on it till this day.
Yeah.
I have that story. I have all the good memories. Went there, had loaf of bread and cheese and cold cuts, and you just survive. You just make things happen.
Was that the first time you were ever off the island, or have you been to like mainland before or anything?
I've been to Disneyland as a kid.
Okay, so you've been to California.
Yeah, went to California, and I did a trip with Ben Ipa to California. Ben was going up there summertime. He'd always go and shape boards before Australia. So I did 1 year with Ben, went to California.
Yeah.
I've never got into a fist fight ever in Hawaii surfing in all my childhood.
Yeah.
And if I did, I was ready because I had experience.
Right.
So in California, my first, Ben picked me up early in the morning. I had a red-eye flight, got there at about 5, took me straight to Topanga.
Oh, okay.
And I went to Topanga with Ben and I had a couple other friends that was hanging out with Ben. We went out and we had twin fins and just like, knee high,
Yeah, fun.
waist high waves, but super fun. No one out. Guy on a longboard came out and I dropped in on him, but I was like 10, 15 feet away down the line and left him a lot of space. I went straight, just wiggled, kicked out. On the way back out. If you know Topanga, there's that kind of that cobblestone area. I don't know if you're still there, but piling out, and this guy attacked me.
Wow.
He was saying stuff, and I was like, ho, ho, ho. Sorry, man, I gave you room. There's no one else out here.
Yeah. So
he jumped on me, and he came over my shoulders, kind of gave me a bear hug. Ben Ipo's on the beach, just screaming. We weren't that far offshore.
Yeah.
And man, I grew up kind of in the hood. I grew up in the hood.
Yeah.
And this guy he was a big boy. I remember him being a big boy, and he was giving me the bear hug, and I slipped my hands down by my feet. I picked up a rock. It was like perfect.
Oh, shit.
And I started chugging him real short in the back of the head, and he let me go, and I just finished him. Wow. Because that was the response. It just went boom, 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 and he was, about ready to get knocked out. Ben was screaming to me, "Stick him again! Stick him again!" It was like it was done. So, other than that was, my first experience fighting in the water in California. Other than that, I made a lot of friends throughout the years, and I loved it. I enjoyed California. I really, really did. Hanging out at Huntington and with, Bot Lamas and all the boys. And they were, those guys just brought us in. They had the aloha. It was good fun. My first year going to Australia, I went over there with Ben and just, tried getting into Stubbies, got in and had an experience. Did the Stubbies Pro, did Bells, and did the Coca-Cola Surfabout.
Yep.
Back at, in Sydney. Again, got home and had to figure life out because I wanted to go on tour.
Yeah.
One thing after another, I was able to put enough little money and loose change together to fly back to California, to fly places. And 82, I did really well at the Stubbies Pro here at home. Matter of fact, at Queens, at
Okay.
my stumping grounds. And mind you, I had a little bit of a break competing.
Hmm.
And now I'm jumping in from working in the city. I'm back in, and there's Buttons and Derek and Dane, all the boys.
Yeah.
And I'm the dark horse in this event. And I was so desperate. I needed to win this so I can get a ticket back to Australia and an invite into the Stubbies Pro. They had 2 weeks accommodations, a car rental, and I did everything to win that event, which I did.
Wow.
And that was a breaking point with getting sponsorships. And, surfing was just booming at that time in the 80s, right? With companies like over here locally, Town and Country, Locomotion,
Yeah, they're blowing up.
Creation. They're all expanding. And Robbie Burns from Locomotion called me up and said, hey, you interested in riding for us? So we had a chat and negotiated a little deal with them. It was everything that helped. And, went on the road for a little bit and then ended up in Japan that year and picked up a Japanese wetsuit sponsor. Now, the Japanese were turning on and they wanted the Hawaiians. There's companies out there just, willing to help and put some rubber on you. So when I got that, and the rest is kind of, I got the golden ticket. I was
You're stoked.
I was this person like almost nervous, like, oh man, I can't even freaking believe this.
Wow.
I'm getting paid from surfing. I'm going places, I'm living my dream. It took me around the world with a shoestring budget,
Do you think that time off helped motivate you to like realize there's more in life than working 8 to 5?
100% working for the city. My job at the city and county, I started off in the Parks and Rec, and then there was a permanent position that opened up in the wastewater management department. So you got the honey wagons, which is the septic tank trucks, rescue trucks. I went right into the septic truck.
Oh,
I went and went to the neighborhood, pump all your shit.
Oh no!
I did that for about 3 years, and pumping all that shit motivated me to get out of that shit. True story. I looked at my bosses and kind of laughed at myself. I was like, "Fuck, this is it.
That's the shittiest job literally ever."
I'm gonna be, drinking beer, and and that's the future." And I thank God that I had that vision and the wisdom to see that. Like, oh, there's my future.
Yeah.
It's easy to get caught up under the coconut
Easy.
tree, hanging out with them, and oh yeah, paycheck to paycheck. It was not me at all.
Yeah. Were you getting like publicity too through the magazines and stuff in the early times or the 80s and so forth?
Oh yeah, I did. I put my head down, and you work with photographers and that kind of stuff, mostly in town. But on the North Shore, the OG photographers were around, and I just surfed wherever it was good. I surfed. I surfed a lot. Loved it. And with that, you get the shot in the mag eventually. So that helped out a lot, understanding that the publications for my sponsors, this is what they get.
Do you think that, well, obviously you being a Hawaiian, it helped you with getting more waves probably at home, which helped?
Oh, at home it was automatic,
You see,
Oh, it's automatic. From traveling around the world, I paid respect to the locals. I understood the etiquette. I didn't go right up to the lineup and think I was King Kong or not,
Right.
So I built friends that way. Every place I went, I built friends. My first trip to Australia, out at Burley Heads, at that time was Burley Heads, was the happening spot. My first trip there, I was ready to scrap. The contest was heading to Bell's, but there was a swell coming to Burley's. and we had a window of a few days, and I stayed. I waited for the swell, and I was there pretty much alone. The boys all went to Bell's.
Yeah.
So surfing, got up in the morning, and I was like, "Oh, it's here!" So I went out, surfed, do my thing, and it's like Alamoana Bowl, there's a pecking order, and guys, whatever, they're gonna drop in on you. I had the same guy drop in on me like 4 times.
Yeah.
I'm like 3 times, you're eggy, but the fourth time just straight out burned me. And I think he didn't like me.
Mhm.
And if you recall, then it was, the years that Rabbit, Bartholomew, and them they got beat up here.
Yeah.
But guess what? I wasn't a part of that.
Mhm.
Any of that. I didn't have anything. I actually really liked Rabbit, Bartholomew.
Mhm.
He was a friend. I wasn't close to him, but in my heart, I really liked the guy. He was cool.
Yeah.
So I met Burley's, and this guy that kept dropping in on me, I'm going, okay, I'm going to burn you on the next one. See how you like
Payback.
it. So I paid him back several times, like stuffed him in the pit. Yeah, kick out. We're paddling back out. He's looking at me and, saying shit, and I do it again. And I do it again. I'm like, fucker, you know how that feel?
Yeah.
Anyway, I got called out. I got circled out there in the lineup. The boys all kind of circled me, and they're saying stuff. And the thing that came up that I really realized that, oh, okay, because of Rabbit, what happened to him? These guys, they want to kick my ass, but
Yeah.
they whatever. They have a lot of hard feelings and
Yeah.
hate for that. So I wasn't afraid as I was being ganged up on, and I flexed in front of all of them. I just flexed and said, I'll scrap any of you one at a time. But if all of you going to mob me, I have no chance. I said, go for it. I'm like, it's up to you guys. You guys can go for it. I'm going to hit one of you, but I'm going to get beat up. Whatever. I said, whatever. And I pointed to the guy who burned me, and I said, it's because of you. You're the one that was burning me like 4 times in a row, and you know what you did. You're a punk. I said, I want to scrap you first.
Mhm.
And if I survive you, any of you, and that was like 10, a mob of them. And if any of you want to go after, open game. I had that confident, and I think I scared them away. I said, I'll any of you, let's go. I said, right on the beach, but if you guys want to beat the shit out of me, well, yeah. I went back the next year, and the year after, and the year after, and the year after. And these guys from the next year on became good friends with me.
That's right.
I went back respecting them. The second year was a little bit awkward going and they see you, and I'm just like, etiquette, don't drop in, surf my wave. And eventually, they're like, hey, this guy's not a bad guy. Became friends with all of them.
That's right.
Yeah. So cool.
Yeah. How did you do in that first year in Australia?
The first year I did horrible. The second year, when I got invited back to the Stubbies Pro,
Mhm.
I did decent, considering I didn't win, but
No.
like the you have to surf the trials in every event. There was a trials, and then you meet up with the top 16. Just making the trials was a big deal.
Huge.
And the Coke Classic, the trials, they had a winner in the trials.
Yeah. Okay.
And I ended up getting third in the trials, and that was very helpful. And I believe I got like 9th or 5th, something like that in the event. So I was right there getting 9ths, getting 5ths, 17th was not a good result. Along the way, I just told myself that I looked at it and I saw myself living my dream and being very grateful.
Mhm.
It didn't matter, but it did matter on the result. Of course, you wanted to win, but
Of course.
when I did not get the result I wanted, which is winning, I would just be, I'm here. Let's enjoy this. So I'd have to coach myself.
Okay.
Let's move on, man. It's just we're doing this.
Yeah.
I came from the honey wagon, pumping people's shit.
No shit.
Literally, with that whole spoon. After a while, you get immune, you get good with it. You don't need gloves. Just water, boom, pour that shit, and splashing on you. Just get to the truck, throw a bucket of water over your head, whatever. Oh.
And pro surfing's brand new in the 80s. I mean, it's only a couple years.
Oh, guinea pigs. We were guinea pigs.
Right.
I would look at scores and see pen marks to scratch it out.
Oh, really? They've changed the wave score?
Someone would change the score, man. So you look at a paper with a score on it, you see a number on it,
Yeah.
you flip it around, you'll see what number was in the back. You see it. I grew up in the street, man. All those kind of things you learn.
Yeah.
Flip it around and go, look, how come someone changed his score?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Whatever it was.
Do you think they can get away with that today? I mean, they can't. Obviously, they're punching it on. It's on TV.
Yeah, it's on. Different, man. I think that the change would be as a friend on the side with an app. When they put the score on, he changes it on his app.
Yeah. That would...
Give him the 10 of the point. That was a really close one.
Do you have any rivals on tour at this point? Or is there anybody that you dislike, or is there anybody you want to beat real bad?
You always wanted to beat the top guys.
Of course.
No.
Who was like Kern, or who was it? Who were the top
always
guys?
was Kern, but even before Kern, it was Mark Richards and Mark Thompson and
the big guys.
The big guys. Those guys before Kern came on. Kern was just a whole nother level of the golden boy, and he was just the guy. You know, I never became that guy.
Yeah,
like that.
Kind of were. I mean, there's many. You were there.
What was when I think about it now, I share this with my kids that, man, I would say, like, it was funny because I would get third in the Triple Crown. That means I made a final and I made semis.
Yeah.
And nowadays, if you get third in the Triple Crown, or you made a final and a quarters or 2 quarters, you'd be on the world tour.
Yeah.
Said I would hit that up there at home all the time. And coming into the event, I would be in the lower 20s, and I could never get in the top 16, even with that result.
Yeah.
So the number percentages were different. I'm not going to say off. Yeah, it was different. It just didn't pan out. Needed a win to get. It was so hard to get in the top 16 number.
You said bells. Like, I mean, bells can get big, but it's cold. So how did that bother you? The cold water?
No, it didn't bother at all, really, honestly. It didn't hinder. It didn't hinder my surfing. The rubber wasn't not as good as the rubber you have now, but it's not at all. Mentally, it didn't bother me. Yeah, that year that Simon Anderson on the thruster got huge. I was so pissed because I got eliminated the day before, and then that big swell showed up.
Mm-hmm.
And in my heart of heart, when I look at it, I go, man, I would have done good.
Really well, yeah.
No, I would have done well in it.
Yeah.
It was my forte to just go for it. Even though I grew up on the South Shore town, surfing small waves, my reputation became that, oh, he's a big wave guy. And I didn't like that. I didn't like that when they would, talk about you. He goes, yeah, big wave rider. Because I was surfing a beach break with shitty waves, I felt like it hindered what the judges heard.
Oh, yeah.
Big waves. I used to like, oh, man, don't say that, because I grew up in town and I still surf a lot of little waves. But, that's history, and it's all good.
When you look back at history, your history, and your fellow surfers in that age bracket, I mean, I don't know if surfing today will go down in history as what you guys did. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You guys are this.
It was really different.
Yeah. I mean, you guys made surfing what it is today, really.
Yeah, we were, whatever word, pioneers or guinea pigs.
There you
go. It was, it was before all these floaties and the floating devices ever came out, right? But leashes came along.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the same difference. Now we're putting leashes on. The OGs before us would be, why are you putting on that leash?
Yeah.
I don't get it. That's dangerous. That's dragging your board. You're going to lose speed. That was the talk.
Yeah.
So if you put on a leash, it's like, I hope I don't get caught out putting on a leash. My answer would be, I don't want to swim. I'm tired of swimming. Anyway, that's the difference now, man. I feel like I'm in shape enough
Mm-hmm.
to surf Waimea
Mm-hmm.
at 20 foot, but I can't go out there because it's too crowded. I look at it, I go, oh my goodness. And everybody has a floating device.
Yeah.
And a lot of that, I understand the safety and the floating device, but not at Waimea. At Waimea Bay, it's just special. You do not need a floating device at Waimea. Yeah, you can say, oh, but this person died and that person died. And for whatever reason, still Waimea. So what happens? My point is, it's allowing people to go out there, 60, 70, 80 guys in the lineup that more than half of them maybe shouldn't be out
Shouldn't
there.
be out.
Yeah. Whatever the number is, a lot of guys depend on that too much. So, oh man, I'm going to try and surf Waimea. And you can see that person and go, wow, this guy shouldn't be out here. I hear the talk by the boys. So many guys out there and so many guys don't belong out there. I go, hey, you guys should kind of do
Regulated?
regulate, like floater, out, out, get in, floating, put the word out. That was just my opinion,
I mean,
Oh,
it's.
yeah.
I think it's everywhere in surfing though, too, right?
Oh,
Even the beach breaks. Even Huntington Beach gets not to the extent of Waimea, of course. Just being out in the water, I guess, that shouldn't be out in the water or paddling out.
Oh, yeah. Right.
That's what I mean. Not to the extent, but I see what you're saying. I think it's all through surfing now, maybe.
Oh, the beach breaks are gnarly. Huntington and that, the current and the rip tides and all
Right.
that is really not easy.
So going way backwards, when you were a kid in town, you're probably surfing like Alamoana or whatever, Kaisers or I don't know. But
It's a pet. You work your way. I grew up surfing Waikiki.
Yeah.
Yeah. By the wall with Buttons and Mark Lydell.
oh wow,
We were Queens. We were Waikiki rats. And then when you go to Ala Moana, there's all the big boys.
mm-hmm.
And mind you, I'm 10 years old,
Wow,
11 years old, going to Bose and, got Jerry Lopez and Barry and a whole nother just group of good surfers, watermen that didn't have a name like these guys, but
legends.
they're all good. And then you learn to behave yourself, and getting the lineup and slowly, work your way up.
Yeah.
And still the pecking order. You still learn to make your way up. Otherwise, you'll get a slap or you'll get a verbal, like very strong verbal. Like you see that all the time. There was not much talking going on, but there was more like slaps in the head. And
Are those guys encouraging you though when you're young, at 10, paddling out there? Or are they like
no, man,
stuffing you?
No, it's one thing that I can't say. Yeah, that guy was super. I didn't have that. I didn't get it. It's like it's on your own. You didn't have the encouraging me at all. I didn't have that.
Wow.
Yeah, I didn't experience any of that. It was all, go out of there out of some fear and sneak some waves in. And,
Yeah.
As you get a little older in your teenage years and you're like, okay.
You start becoming the guy.
Yeah, become part of the guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my dream early on as a child was to get an invitation into the Duke Classic.
Mm.
I used to say it to Ben. Now I'm 19, whatever, 20 years old. I used to tell Ben, man, how do I get invited to the Duke?
Yeah.
What do I do? He said, you need to surf Sunset, Waimea, and Pipe. But wherever's on, whenever sunset's closing out, you have to put yourself out there. And I did that really hard.
Yeah.
Really hard. I surfed a lot of Sunset, and whenever Waimea was up, I surfed it. My favorite spot was Pipe. I loved Pipe. That was, for me, it was my favorite. So I put myself out there for, I don't know, a couple of years and just got the invite.
Wow.
In between that, I got a couple results, right? I got a couple of results and got the invite. And right there, it's almost like my dream came true. I didn't really care about any title but the Duke. title. That's what I wanted. Before Triple Crown started,
Yeah.
I was like, oh man, Waikiki boy made it.
Yeah.
Good. You know, I was like stoked. And I come from a big family of cousins and uncles that surf. And
Hmm.
to be the
So,
one that got
made it.
there, and I was kind of the youngest of the group. That was a dream come true, getting the invitation. Till this day, having, you know, I still got a trophy here. Let me grab it. I can show it to you.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah, check this out.
Wow. That's
Right.
right.
I did the last 4 events.
Okay.
You can
Nice.
see that it looks all tarnished because it is. My
Yeah.
house burnt down about 3 years ago, and these babies survived the fire.
Wow. That's
When the
awesome.
house went down, I was like, oh no, it's pretty sad. And
No, of course.
my trophies. But yeah, it
Dude,
has,
those are beautiful. Like, those are priceless.
yeah. So with that, my kids got 2 of them. I think one of them got 1 and or 2, whatever. But yeah, I'm going to leave that with my kids.
Yeah. I mean, it's
Then-
going to be passed generation to generation for sure.
Yeah. So it was almost like I stopped once I got into the Duke class. In a way of stopping, that was my goal and my dream was to get it
You've accomplished your goal.
before the world tour. It was
Yeah.
like, I got it. This is what I wanted.
Yeah.
And did I win? No. I made finals. I made 2 finals at the Duke Classic out of the 4 that I did.
Hmm.
I did the last 4, and then they had the Eddie, and then my name went into the invitation because we were already invited to the Duke Classic.
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
They put us in, and so the next one became the Eddie, which to try and win, but the Duke Classic was even more. There was one year, I believe it was 85, that, it's such a subjective world. It's surfing is.
Yeah.
And I came in and, all the boys would say, oh, you won that. You got that. And I felt like I won it.
Yeah.
I was like, I had the best waves. I got barreled. I got, 3 solid waves and 2 backup. You needed 5 waves.
Yeah. Crazy.
It was 5 waves. And Dane Kiloha, Michael, Derek, Sean Thompson, I believe it was Simon. It was a 6-man final. And Dane was just claiming me to be the winner out there in the water. And I was like, yeah, Dane and I were really close. I ended up getting 5th. Derek Cole won it. It's just part of what I went through. And it was like, I just shrugged my shoulders and went on.
Yeah.
I didn't cry. I was just like, wow, this is surfing. We don't have a finish line.
I was just going to say that. Yeah.
Motocross had the finish line. And that's what I loved about racing. I loved it because no one can say anything once you cross the line.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and then, well, I guess if you box too, it's either you knock the guy out or you don't know who's going to win.
Yeah. Yeah. It was like clear.
Being at home and accomplishing your goals was huge. So that's rad.
Yeah. That was a big one for me.
How long did you do the tour for?
I did about 7 years full time chasing it.
Okay.
And then a few more after here and there. I was kind of getting burnt out. And right when, you meet the wife, you get, and then I'm also looking. Priorities change, but I'm also was looking through the window, honestly, on what am I going to do here?
Mm-hmm.
And, you go to the ASR shows, you see the industry, you're looking around. Wow, maybe I should start, finding a job within the industry. And when I signed my last contract with Locomotion, it was a 5-year deal.
Okay.
And at the end of my contract, I get to run the team, manage the team right into still. And so they kept it. And I was, now on a salary and I was working in the office, just managing surfboards. And the company, we had a lot of surfers on the team.
Yeah.
We also had windsurfers on the team.
Mhm.
So it was kind of a full-time job, communicating with all these guys, handling all the trade-ins,
Okay.
making sure the orders are in and boards being made, all that kind of stuff. So I did that for a few years. And then I got offered a repping job while I was working there. And I was like, yeah, it's something I wanted to venture off to anyway and not get stuck behind on a desk.
Yeah.
I was more of an outdoor guy. I thought I was going to be making surfboards. So at one point,
You want to be a shaper.
I thought I would end up shaping.
Mhm.
And because I worked with a lot of shapers early on, I spent numerous hours and years with Ben Ipa in the room,
Yeah.
walking design, shaping. He's shaping my board from start to finish.
Yeah.
I'll take it to the glassing room next door and, watch the guy's glass and, say, hey, add another pad here or keep that line. Can you squeeze everything out? Kind of
Yeah.
like that. We're allowed to. I went in the shaping room for a little bit, thought I would be able to do this, and found out real quickly it wasn't my gift because if it's harder than it looks, and you got to be that craftsman. And I saw myself in the room, I don't know, 6 to 10 hours a day shaping one board. If this is going to take me 4 hours, 5 hours to make one board, at the beginning, I'm not going to be able to buy
eat.
diapers.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah. Diapers
I'm
too.
not going to be able to pay rent.
Yeah.
I saw that, went into glassing, thought, okay, maybe if I get the production lines like glassing boards,
Yeah.
you can make good money because the boys make good money,
Mhm.
glassing, sanding.
Per
I
board.
did.
Yeah.
I had a taste of all of it.
Yeah.
The boys, come, Tone, we'll teach you how to do this. Come try this. And
Yeah.
I tasted everything in the factory. And man, I didn't like what I saw. I didn't like what I was breathing. The
no.
outside was like really scary. It scared me enough to where I said, no. So I went into repping in the industry and finally went on my own in 94, 95. I started my own clothing company because I looked at the guys who in the early years, Quicksilver, Rip Curl, been down to their neck of the woods and how they started. I go, wow, man, if they started, they can do this. Why not me?
Mm-hmm.
And it's 95, man. In the 80s, you could print anything on, everything was selling in the industry, right?
Everything.
Everything was just selling.
Surfing was hot.
Yeah, it was hot. Anyway, jumped into it. Did pretty well with my label, Faith Writing Company.
Yeah.
Built it up to about $1 million in sales. Got subpoenaed, was getting sued by a manufacturer. I hit a couple more walls with manufacturers not putting out my product, getting the right things done, the quality control. And I just got frustrated at that $1 million range of sales.
Mm-hmm.
I was on a treadmill that was spinning way too fast for me, where I needed 6 legs. I was on 2, 3.
Yeah.
Going, throwing batons, trying to get money from Peter to pay Paul kind of thing. I looked at the number. I go, wow, this is pretty good, but it's just kind of, but fair warning. I had some business advisors in the industry saying, hey, go slow, do this, do that. I didn't listen too well. I didn't hear too well. And I went bigger and bigger and bigger. And so the company's alive today, but more through the surf school.
Okay. Yeah.
More through the surf school. And we got 2 locations down on the beach, one right directly on the beach, and that one's Fate Surf School Hawaii. We have, T-shirts and stuff that we still do. So the pilot light is on. I kept that on in case any of my kids or someone want to get into it that has 4 legs to stand on. We have one at the Billabong store, Moniz Family Surf. That's the name of it. Actually, this shirt right here.
Yeah.
After getting subpoenaed, almost getting sued, I was like, oh, man, I'm gonna go. I don't have any more energy. Pretty burnt out. I'm going to teach people how to surf. Guess what?
Yeah.
It's like going on the Ferris wheel ride. It's like going to the theme park. They pay and they play and and you get paid. Then a couple ways, yeah, everybody happy.
Right.
And I get cash in my hand. I was like, wow, this is good. I like this.
You enjoyed that. Did you enjoy it?
I enjoyed it. And then, as I went on, the money wasn't the thing. It was more giving the experience to the person who saved for a lifetime to come to Hawaii for 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Understanding that. Well, I just love that. And to this day, that's what we're doing,
Yeah.
canoes and all that. And my 2 older boys, they're at the beach now. They're teaching and they're following the footsteps, and they realize how hard it is. It's not easy work all day in the sun, keeping
It sounds
someone
fun,
safe.
but it can get long and hard.
It can get long, yeah.
Yeah.
You can get they get eggy like any other. I say, well, can go dig holes and do construction. Of course,
Yeah.
they know that's not what they're going to do. But,
So
yeah.
speaking of your kids, all your kids, did they all compete in surfing? They all surf though, right?
Yeah, everyone competed. My older son, Micah, he's 32 now.
Mm-hmm.
He played around in the amateur division, kind of such a good, talented boy. He's a big boy.
Okay.
He's a big boy. So I gave them the opportunity on the same platform
Okay.
that if they wanted to compete, go for it. So everybody competed in all the fun events, and then they got serious into NSSA, hostels and that. And that's where I had anchored down and said, well, you guys going to do this. You're going to start training. We're going to start filming. We're going to start practicing.
Mm-hmm.
And because money's going to be put out and I got to buy you surfboards.
Yeah.
And we're not going to do this because you just want to go play with your friends and compete and get a goodie bag and a t-shirt. No, we're going to go in it to win it. I'm going to teach you how to do it. So there's a lot of years of coaching. And to coach your own child is really, really hard.
Mm-hmm.
I had my 2 older ones, they were over it on me trying to coach them.
Okay.
Time goes on.
I totally get it.
There's a few things now that they'll say a few things. Dad, I wish I listened to you.
Of course.
My oldest one is boxing. He's into boxing.
Yeah.
He loves the training. He loves doing it. He goes, I wish I would have listened to you and go to the gym and box early. I go, it's okay, man. You're doing it now. It wasn't your time back then,
Mm-hmm.
but he does that and has a family. He enjoys it. He actually had a real match about a few months ago, and I got to go watch him in the ring.
Wow.
And
Was that
fun.
cool or was that scary for you?
Was that cool for me? I was like,
It was
but
cool.
before he went in, I said, you need to be 100% trained up and know that you're going to go in and win. You can't go in there saying, I'm not going to win. You're going to hurt yourself. And it's a bummer losing.
Yeah.
So he went in, he got those good competition. I'm going to say he got rocked in his first round.
Wow.
Saved by the bell.
Okay.
Came into the corner. We were all standing by the corner, myself and Seth. He looked at Seth. This is him talking. He goes, man, I looked at Seth, and Seth was like, Micah, come on. And he said he just went click. He had the minute to rest.
Yep.
Went in the next round and dropped the guy and just kind of dominated
Really?
the next
Wow.
2 rounds. Yeah. So that was fun.
Yeah.
He's still doing it just for fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
It was that a 2-minute round or was that a 3-minute round?
2 minute.
Yeah, the amateur.
2 minutes seems like
But
2
it's a
hours.
long time.
A long time swinging. It's a long time.
I don't think most of us realize really how long it is. But-
Yeah.
And then the other kids they're still competing. Some of them.
Yeah. So moving with Josh and Seth. Josh is on that what do you call it, Challenger Series.
Yeah.
He broke his neck a year and a half ago, just free surfing in Portugal.
Oh shit! I didn't know that.
Number 7 and 6.
Wow.
And it was a scary moment, but he's back. He's back. He's healthy. He's moving. And then Seth's on the Dream Tour, part of that. He made the cut for the top 20, barely, but made it. So he's off to the ranch, the next event.
Wow.
They're both full time. My daughter was a very, very gifted surfer
Mm-hmm.
at a young age. She was very, like, you just saw it on her.
Mm-hmm.
She was exceptionally gifted with longboarding. From the
Yeah.
moment I saw her on a longboard when she's
You
very
knew?
young, I knew she just kind of danced on it. And
Yeah, kind of grace.
And she was a great shortboarder too.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, she shortboarded really well. And she did she did, I think, 1 or 2 years at NSSA. When she was 14, she won a title
Mm-hmm.
on a shortboard. And it was Coco Ho in that final and some of the hot girls at that time.
Yeah.
She came in and told me, Dad, I hope you don't see me going on the girls' tour, shortboard tour. That's not what I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I looked at her and I said, girl, I've never, ever forced you to compete anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
This is all you're doing. I support you. I said, you don't have to do the tour. It's not what I'm looking at all. So what do you want to do? You know, it's the next question. What do you feel?
Yeah.
What do you want to do? And Roxy just sponsored her. She said, I just want to go to school and, just surf for fun. I just want to surf. And
Yeah.
she was an excellent longboarder. I said, oh, just go play on your longboard and have fun.
Mm-hmm.
The timing was perfect because Roxy was, again, transitioning back to fun in the sun and marketing.
Yes.
The relatable market with girls can, don't have to be there. You don't have the shortboard girl that they can only do that. So, yeah, her timing was great. And Roxy saw that in her
Mm-hmm.
and said, yeah. The Roxy longboard event that came to Waikiki when before she even got sponsored by Roxy, before this, she was 14. And she comes up to my showroom. I had a little showroom in Waikiki. Dad, I want to go surf in this event. I want to enter. It's a longboard Roxy Pro. And she had been like 12, 13. She's young. And I said, well, why do you want to compete in it? It was like, I think membership and now it was like $200, $300.
Ooh.
I said, why do you want to do this? You want to get the goodie bag and tell your friends that you surf in the Roxy Pro?
Yeah.
She goes, no, I know I can win it. And I said, oh, good answer. Good answer. I said, are you serious? You want to go in it to win it? I said, that's the only way I'll pay to go. And she went in and she did really well. And yeah, Roxy was like, hey, we won her. She was surfing for Billabong, picked up all 5 of my kids. We're all on Billabong.
Yeah.
Sister we heard that Kalia was the shortest team rider in the history of the company. I think it was 2 months in.
Wow.
And Roxy came along. And then I spoke, to the Roxy team manager, was a girl, and I said, hey, what? Trying to figure it out. What does it look like for Kalia here with Billabong? Because, we got approached by Roxy, and Roxy wants to do this and this and this. I said, is there any kind of future? And her answer was, I don't really have an answer, but maybe we'll wait until she's 18.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the answer of saying, we're moving because this little girl loves Roxy and she wants to be a Roxy rider.
Yeah.
So we went on with Roxy and the rest is history. And, she became that Roxy person. She is married, got 2 kids, a son and a daughter. The boy's 2.5 years old. Honolivai, and the daughter's maybe 8 months now. 7.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So the husband is Italian man from New York. When I think of New York Italians, I think of Al Capone.
There you go.
Whoa. And they knew each other for a while, but so that's her life. And beautiful, beautiful person, Joe. And they live down the road from us. I just love it. I love her and Matt. And they work really good together. She's still doing all the Roxy things and collaborating with other companies and doing what she does, what she loves. You know?
So you think you taught all your kids to do what they enjoy, what they love?
100%.
Yeah.
100%. It was always something that because of my experience, my journey, I just always instilled that you have to go at something you love because you don't want to, even if you went to school, you got to like what you're going to get into because I hear it too often that I hate what I do. people are miserable. They're just not
Yeah.
happy what they do. You got to love what you do. And that was what I did, you know.
Yeah.
The money will come later. You'll figure it out. Always kind of be like, it's not, yeah, it's about the money, but if you're chasing the mighty dollar, you're going to miss it.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Yeah.
Well, you do the surf school. Do the tourists know who you are, or the Moniz family?
The Moniz family's gotten out there, and with social media, everybody
Yeah.
go and check up on you and see how many stars you got. So that helps a lot.
Yeah.
And some do, some don't,
Mm-hmm.
and we treat them all VIP. They come.
Yeah, that's rad. That's awesome.
Yeah, and you get the ones that come in, and they're the starstruck ones. If that's
Right. That was my kind of a question.
They're just like psyched to be there, and
Yeah.
you're like, me don't take pictures, and
That's rad. That's awesome.
I love that. Yeah.
Tony Moniz, thank you so much for coming on the QuiverCast. I'm so stoked.
Right on. Aloha, Mike. Had fun.
Awesome. Thank you again. This is Mike and Tony Moniz, and we're out of here.
Point. 100 foot out choke food. 100 racks on a surf dude. Slippery, big guns like Mark Fu. Trap jumping like a kangaroo. 100 foot out choke food. 100 racks on a surf dude. Slippery, big guns like Mark Fu. Trap jumping like a kangaroo. You know we don't fuck with no kooks. You boo on my didgeridoo. They calling me Duke. I'm stacking the loot. I'm ripping your chick in the coop. She grabbing a hold of my leggy. They jelly, they Gucci my weddy. The fridge of Giuseppe, the train is so heavy. She thinks that I'm charging the Eddie. 100 foot out choke food. 100 racks on a surf dude. Slippery, big guns like Mark Fu. Trap jumping like a kangaroo. 100 foot out choke food. 100 racks on a surf dude. Slippery, big guns like Mark Fu. Trap jumping like a kangaroo. Surf trap, I'm stacking that money. Cash, shorts a red Ferrari. He starts to calling me Dundee. Diamonds a surfing McFlurry. She want me to teach her to surf. Splash, pulling up, ripping the burst. I'm leaving these cooks in the hearse. They get moved 100 foot on their head, they get work. 100 foot out choke food. 100 racks on a surf dude. Slippery, big guns like Mark Fu. Trap jumping like a kangaroo. 100 foot out choke food. 100 racks on a surf dude. Slippery, big guns like Mark Fu. Trap jumping like a kangaroo. You know we don't fuck with no kooks. You know we don't fuck with no kooks. You calling me Duke, I'm stacking the loot. I'm ripping your chick in the coop. You know we don't fuck with no kooks. You know we don't fuck with no kooks. They calling me Duke, I'm stacking the loot. I'm ripping your chick in the coop.
Hey, you guys, Endless Summer box set. This thing is legit. It's authentic, numbered certificate in it. It has a 5-frame film strip from the original print. You literally own a piece of history. It has a specially minted bronze medallion. Dude, that thing's sick. Okay, there's so much more here. Go to the show notes. There's a link on there. Go check this piece of history out. This thing's rad. Seriously. Smithsonian American History Museum has it. It took 4 years of research with 3.5 in production, all hand assembled. This thing's rad. So much to this awesome box set. Remastered DVD, sharper images than the original film. But dude, this thing's so sick. Link in the show notes.